What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. I heard recently the phrase Friday Junior, and I was like, what an awesome way to put it. This is exactly how it feels. We're bringing up the rear. It's Thursday. You get to kind of sit back and grab a cup of coffee, enjoy this training that I have for you today. And really, I hope for you that you really start to go out and implement some of these things that I'm going to give you in this training today. This is all strategy that you can go out and implement. That is the whole point of a training, is not to just hear it, listen, yes it to death, and not do anything. It's about taking action. And if you are one of my people that are having this issue, which I know a lot of my moms experience, so I didn't pull this topic out of thin air. This is very highly requested. Anytime I do a wellness training, whether this was for my old corporation where I was their fitness coach and wellness trainer, and I had weekly workshops and trainings and different things. Getting into a room with especially entrepreneurs, moms that run their own company, moms that are their own CEO, their own boss, moms that work a regular 9 to 5, stay-at-home moms, whatever. If you are a mom, I guarantee that, and especially if you have multiple kids, because as we know, all of our kids are extremely different. And for me, I have 3 kids with 3 very different eating preferences. And if I were to have to accommodate every single one individually, and then include my husband and I, that would mean that I'm stuck with I'm catering to 5 different people on any given day, which honestly is not realistic when we're talking about dinner time, weekly evening activities, getting to practices, getting to CCD prep, whatever you've got. I know that if you have kids in the same age range as me, your weeknights are a complete shit show, right? And this is the reason that I started the challenge this month, is because it's October. This is a very busy season for most of us. It just works when you plan well enough ahead and give yourself the freedom to save time during the week, whether that means a simple meal plan in the beginning of your week, a little bit of meal prep. Even if you prep nothing, if you at least have a plan, you're setting yourself up for success in terms of saving time in dinner. Okay, so dinner is the main pain point area that I'm going to focus on for today's training. And I've been hit with a lot of like the same types of questions, right? But the basic problem, if you will, is I've got picky kids, I've got picky toddlers. I've fallen into the habit of catering to their individual needs and offering children's menu type food, forcing me to create multiple dinners because I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying to improve my food choices. And the kids are not receptive, or they're just not, kids are kids, right? So if you have picky kids in the house, and I know I do, my pickiest eater is almost 9 years old. So I've been going through this for 9 years, introducing, reintroducing. You have to offer a child, I think it's around 27 times you offer the same food before they actually taste it and take to it. Okay. So if you are experiencing this, just know that you're not alone. And I guarantee if you are in mom groups, if you have other friends with kids in similar age groups, you already know that you're not alone, because all of us are going through it. Okay. All of us are going through it. And it's very, very easy to fall into the habit of, okay, yeah, I'll just throw some chicken nuggets in the air fryer. All right, yeah, I'll heat up the mac and cheese. whatever it is, right? So I'm going to give you my very simple system to sort of move away from that habit or that cycle that you've fallen into and start to get your family aligned, get you saving time making one dinner because, like I said, no one has time to be making multiple meals every single night and still try to rush out of the house and be on time for practice and get to wherever you need to be. So the main purpose here is to save you time and give you some of your sanity back. And it's going to take a little bit of repetition and consistency, just like anything else. So I don't want you to think that you're going to start to implement and just overnight automatic the kids are going to be robots and start to eat the dinner that you make on the very first try. Not going to happen. Okay, so we're going to set that expectation right out of the gate that this is going to take time. Is it going to be worth it? 100%. But just like anything else, your dream body doesn't happen overnight, okay? You don't go into a workout program for 3 weeks and then just get a cut, lean, toned ass body. It's going to take a lot of time and repetition, just like anything else. But if you really, really want to see this change, if you want to get your time back, if you want to get your sanity back, then it's going to be worth it for you to commit to trying some things differently and then committing to that. Okay. So just like anything else, if you're consistent with your parenting, your children respond to it. Okay. Over time, if you are consistent with your parenting and if you set the expectation and you stick to it, so the kids don't respond if you threat a punishment and then you don't follow through, right? Like we can all type yes in the chat if you've ever experienced that. And if you're a parent on here, I want to hear from you because we've all been there, right? Like if you say you're going to ground them, put them in timeout, you don't actually stick to it, do you think they'll ever respond to it? But I guarantee the second you follow through, you put them in the timeout, you take away the privilege, you ground them, whatever, then the next time it doesn't happen because your child learns from it. And the more you are consistent, the more they get it, the better they respond to it. So type yes, give me an emoji, something in the chat that lets me know that you're with me and you're on the same page so far. And on the flip, if you're consistent with your parenting, for example, but your partner isn't or your spouse isn't, then what is the first thing they noticed? Who's the consistent one? Who doesn't follow through? And that's who they're going to be asking for things, right? That's just how it's going to go. Okay, so if you are one of my peeps that are in this challenge, if you have been planning your meals ahead of time, even if it's just simple foods that you throw together, not necessarily specific meals, specific recipes, but you are mapping out specific foods every single week, you're setting yourself up for success, everything's been going wonderful, you're able to stick to it, there's no crazy meal prep system going on, you're just keeping it simple and keeping yourself set up for the week so that you are much more likely to make better food choices, okay? So in addition to saving time and saving money, you're going to be much more likely now to create better food choices if you've got those food choices readily available at your fingertips. And I'm going to use a real life example because I've been working with one client in particular for about 6 months, I believe. We've been going through a lot of ups and downs in her coaching program, just like most experiences. I mean, success is not linear by any stretch of the imagination. So there's definitely been challenges. There's been ups and downs. But in the beginning, this particular client did not make the best food choices overall, the majority of the time. And we have tweaked and worked on very simple ways very simple systems and simple tools to make better food choices more convenient for her. And she's been very, very successful with these systems in doing so. But the one thing that she did say to me was, yes, I am still making multiple dinners to appease each and every one of my 3 kids, which makes me crazy because that doesn't give me a whole lot of time to work out in the evening. When I'm not making just one dinner for the family, I'm catering to multiple picky eating habits and driving myself insane in the process. So I asked her, do you want your kids to be eating chicken nuggets and french fries every night, or hot dogs and french fries every night? No. So I ask you that same question because here's the deal. Some people are very cool with that. If you're a family that eats chicken nuggets and french fries and mac and cheese every single night, and you're not about to change that system, then I invite you to be honest and upfront, okay? So be honest with yourself and honestly answer that question. Do you want your kids to be making better food choices? Do you want them eating children's menu food? Yes or no? It's okay if the answer is yes. I just need honesty. And if you're honest and you say yes, you don't mind that they eat X, Y, and Z. If it's quick, if it's simple, if it's processed, I don't care. Then I invite you to pause or end this training because the rest of this information will not be for you. So here's your out and here's your opportunity to be honest, okay? And if you are honest, if you do want your children making better food choices, if you want to be the best possible example for your kids, if you want to be the one offering them more whole foods, more nutrient dense foods, then you're going to have to take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I taking action on X, Y, and Z and implementing so that this does change? And if not, if nothing's changed, have I done nothing? And then you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a liar. I am a liar because I said I wanted to make this change. I have not followed through with it. Therefore, I'm a liar. Okay? So if you're ready to take some ownership, if you're ready to take some accountability, if you're ready to answer this question honestly, let's move forward. Okay? I'm giving you an out. Here's the deal. If you think that this is just going to change overnight, I'm just being transparent. It's not going to. And I'm not actually going to give you some sort of magical advice that's just going to allow your kids to do a 180. Children are not robots, okay? They're not just going to do everything that we ask them to do every single time exactly the way we want. If you're a parent, you're a teacher, you already know, okay? So I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But what I will say is that you alone, the parents, are responsible for the majority of the food choices that your children make, okay? And why do I say this? Yes, do our kids have the opportunity to buy lunch at school? Do they go to birthday parties? Are there other external influences out there that influence their eating decisions? Yes, but you are the primary source of their food. Their food choices actually begin at home, and you alone are responsible for either offering the types of food that you would like them to start to gravitate towards. If you want your children to start eating more broccoli, but you never give them the opportunity to taste broccoli, to try broccoli different ways, to add dips and sauces to their broccoli, how would you ever expect them to start eating the broccoli? And honestly, if you want your children to eat more fruit and you never offer them fruit, if your child never sees you eating fruit, why would they ever eat fruit? Okay, so if the option for your kids, if at dinner time you have no plan, you have nothing set up, you look in your fridge and you say, "What do you want for dinner, kids?" What do you think the answer will be? My first piece of advice, my first tool, very simple tool. If you're not going to join this challenge, get yourself set up for a weekly plan so that you know what you're making for dinner. You know what dinner is because you've already mapped it out, or you at least have an idea, okay? If you're not going to take that step, and that is the first step that I would recommend you take, is to just create a plan and say, hey, this is what we're having for dinner. This is dinner tonight. Create a whiteboard system, create a menu. Jen August has a little menu thing on her fridge. It works wonderful for her kids. It has completely changed her life. The children know what's for dinner every single night. They look forward to taco night. They look forward to pasta night. They have the expectation that they know exactly what it is. And that works. It gets the kids excited. It inspires them. It offers different things for them to taste. And guess what? When you have a weekly menu, when you have one dinner option, guess what? You can still have fallback items readily available that you don't have to cook, okay? Rest assured, your child will not go hungry if they just don't like the dinner that you've prepared, okay? So rest assured, I'm not telling you to starve your kids. I'm not saying you eat what I make or you don't eat at all. That's exactly how I grew up. You have one dinner option, you don't eat it, you go to bed hungry, that's it. Not what I'm saying. What I am saying is pick 3 fallback items that your child will eat. It doesn't matter if it's breakfast food, lunch food, if you've got some carbs, if you've got some protein, if you have a little fiber as a bonus, that is a decent meal. It doesn't matter that it's not perfectly portioned and set up on their plate for them. If your child does not like the grilled chicken, broccoli, and sweet potato option that you have prepared for dinner, then you offer them one of the 3 fallback items that doesn't require you to cook anything. This could be a waffle with peanut butter and sliced bananas on top. In fact, that's what my son pretty much eats every single time he doesn't like the dinner I've prepared for him. And you know what? His growth is exactly where it needs to be. He is able to get through his sporting events, all of his athletic shit. He is successful. He has energy. He is never hungry. Okay? So it doesn't bother me when he doesn't like the dinner I've prepared because I've already set the expectation that you have to offer certain foods over and over and over before your child actually takes to it. Okay? So when you manage that expectation appropriately, it's not the end of the world. If your child tastes something and they just don't like it, that's okay. Grab your yogurt, grab your fruit, grab a little bit of granola, and that is your fallback. You offer 3 options and they pick one. You don't say, well, what do you want instead? What do you want instead? I'll go make it. No, the expectation is you make one dinner, and if they don't like it, that's okay. And that's exactly how you say it. It's okay if you don't like it. There's fallback items, okay? You can grab your oatmeal and fruit, and you've got a little bit of fiber, carbohydrates, and maybe a little peanut butter in there for protein, and you're good. You don't have to make, if your children are old enough, then they can heat it up in the microwave themselves. So literally no additional cooking on your plate, okay? So your child will not go hungry, rest assured, with this system. So that is number 1, okay? Number 2, if you are still setting up your children's plate and portioning food out individually on their plate for them, I'm going to encourage you to stop doing that? The reason is because children are really dying for independence. It's not just a 2 and 3-year-old thing. This continues as they age. So when your child is seeking independence, think about it. They go to school, they're told where to be, what to get, what to do. They come home and there's rules and expectations at home. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Structure is wonderful for children. But when you give them the freedom to choose how much or how little they want to put on their plate, that gives them so much independence and so much confidence that you completely also take the drama out of here's what you're eating and this is how much and you need to finish your whole plate. Children are, again, not robots. And you know what? If children have 2 balanced meals, if they eat a balanced breakfast, if they eat a balanced lunch, oftentimes, if they're not in a growth spurt and if they're not super active, they may not have the appetite necessarily to eat every single thing that you put on their plate. It's just how kids are. If they are going through a growth spurt, trust me, you will know. I'm sure you've already experienced this. You can't even keep food in the house when they're having a growth spurt, right? So that's when they will double up on portions. They will listen to their hunger and fullness cues. We all have this innate in us, even our children. And our children are oftentimes way better in touch with hunger and fullness than we even are, right? So that's why it's important for you as the parent to lay all of the options out like a buffet style and assist your child with exactly what you allow them to point. Yes, I want to taste this. I would like more of that. And you can help them. If they're old enough, then they can pick their individual pieces of chicken and broccoli and scoop their own rice themselves. I actually allow my 3-year-old to point to individual slices of chicken and steak, raviolis. I get as specific as that. And the reason is when they choose their own individual foods to put on their plate, they are much more likely to then eat it or at least taste it, okay? And that is my rule. If you taste it and you don't like it, it's okay. There is no drama in dinner time. There's just no drama because I know as their mother, they're not actually ever going to go hungry. It's not going to happen. So I know that they will trust and tell me, okay, I don't like this. I do like that. I would like more of that. And then I also have the fallback items. Okay, usually breakfast food. In our house, it's breakfast food. In your house, it may be something else. Again, something that you are not required to make yourself from scratch. Is this making sense so far? Give me some hearts. Give me an emoji. Give me something if this is making sense. Okay, so those are my 2 biggest tips, okay? Do not ask the open-ended question of what do you want for dinner today? Because you're inevitably going to get 3 different answers, then of which you will have to follow through with each individual one. Magically order a pizza that you don't have, right? Because if you ask that question and leave it up to your 6-year-old is going to tell you they want pizza. They're going to tell you they want chicken nuggets and French fries. And I'm not saying that there's not a time and a place for these foods. What I'm saying is if you want your child to eat more lean protein, vegetables, and complex carbs and fiber, you must begin to offer this, okay? And it must be on a consistent basis. If you ever want a shot at having your child create better food choices for themselves even later in life as an adult, okay? So you must understand that you are setting the stage, you're setting the framework for your child to eventually become an adult and make their own food choices. So it's completely up to you. This could go one of two ways. Okay. So that is number one. Offer a dinner, but also have fallback items, because it's highly likely that your children, they're going to taste the same foods over and over. Eventually, something clicks. And you can see this too when you do offer exactly what they want. Kids that want chicken nuggets and mac and cheese the week before, you offer them the same chicken nuggets and mac and cheese the week later. It's complete garbage. And it's because children are very inconsistent with their eating habits. It's just the nature of having kids. It's the nature of being a kid. Okay? You want something a week before, the next week it is straight garbage. So your best bet is to offer a dinner. Okay? Take the drama out of it, and if they don't like it, there's fallback items. Number two, lay the food out on the island buffet style. Do not, I repeat, do not put individual foods on your child's plate. If that's a habit you've gotten into, and again, guilty of this too. Okay, you start it when they're babies, essentially. If this is the habit you've gotten into, please start to work out of that. And I guarantee when you implement this step alone, you're going to see your child inevitably taste more foods, drama-free. Okay, drama-free. If you taste it, you don't like it, you spit it out, not the end of the world, okay? You will have fallback items. No one's going hungry. Again, no one is going hungry. There's no need for it. And there's also no need to cater to individual children's eating habits, okay? It's just from a time-saving perspective. I want you to have your time back. I want you to have your sanity back. Okay. My last tip for you, throw out the rules that you have grown up around food in your own home. Things like you must eat everything on your plate before you get dessert. That is complete BS. Kids' appetites are constantly evolving and changing. There's literally no need for your child to polish off every single thing on their plate if they're not hungry and they just don't want that particular food anymore, okay? Now, if you say to them, if your belly is still hungry, then I want you to continue eating until you're full, because you won't have a snack until before bed, okay? So I tell my kids when they come off the bus starving, if your belly's hungry, then I would wait, I'm making dinner. And then they say, okay, are you looking for a treat? Because that's different. Is your belly hungry? Are you looking for a treat? There's no right or wrong, because treats are always allowed. Treats are always allowed, but set the expectation that if your belly's hungry, the treat is not going to fill it up, okay? So if you're looking for a treat, that's fine. I encourage that. And then what happens is they still eat their dinner because they're hungry for it. If they're coming home and saying, yes, my belly's hungry, I'm not looking for a treat, then I will say, I'm in the process of making dinner. Can you wait 10 minutes? And the answer is usually yes. Sometimes I get resistance, but usually, yes, I can wait until dinner, okay? So depending on your kids' ages, you may be able to accommodate dinner timing based off of what's best for them. My kids eat lunch super early at school. Therefore, when they get off the bus at 4:00, I'm getting prepared to feed them dinner because I don't want to deal with bags of chips being gone and then no dinner being had. So I get a little bit of control in that window. And then I also have the opportunity after practice, after showers, tubs, before bed to have a little bit of a treat, right? Because if they're eating dinner at 4:30, yes, they will be hungry again at 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it's completely normal and understandable that they would want cereal or ice cream or some sort of treat, dessert before bed. Okay. So treats always on the table. Try not to restrict treats necessarily, but I would gain some control around timing of snacks and treats so that you can offer them full meals at least. And then you can say to them, as you eat the dinner, see if you can have them get in touch with their hunger and their fullness. Ask them questions like, how is this tasting? Are you full? Is your belly full? Or are you going to be looking for a snack in 10 minutes? And if they're going to be looking for a snack in 10 minutes, I just encourage them to eat a couple more bites until they are sufficiently full. And this really gets them, it gets the wheels turning, and it gets them in touch with how they're feeling physically, how they're enjoying the dinner, how they are conversing, how they are eating mindfully, right? Because this all starts at home. If you're eating in the car, if you're constantly eating on the go, if you're allowing them to eat dinner while they're watching TV and have constant distractions, I'm encouraging you here and now to create a better environment for mindful eating. Okay. So mindful eating is not just chewing slowly. It's not just drinking while you eat and savoring your dinner. Okay? It's actually the act of slowing down, eliminating distractions, right? Talking about how you're enjoying the meal and really kind of becoming part of that process with them. And that's inevitably going to create a healthier, balanced relationship to food with your children inside of your home. And it's going to allow them to really understand all foods are on the table. And it's just a matter of what is being offered. Okay. So if I guarantee you start to slice an apple every single afternoon, your child's going to be curious about the apple. If you can be that example, if you can walk the walk for them, it's going to make the entire process easier. Okay. Quick story. I think I told this story before, but my best experience with mindful eating was having dinner at a friend's house, and she was a teammate of mine. In my home growing up, I had hidden junk drawers. I had hidden stashes of junk food, and I had a very difficult relationship to food. There was always a junk drawer, yet somebody was always on a diet, if that makes sense. There was always foods that were highly restricted and off limits, and then there weren't. Right? Created a very difficult relationship to food for me. But when I went and had dinner with a friend before practice, there was steak, peas, and sweet potatoes, and we ate. We had grace. We had a routine, which I had growing up, but really there was no junk drawer. There was no, oh, do you have like, a post-dinner treat? Do you have a bag of chips? And it was like, no, but we can have like an apple if you're still hungry, or there's more meat if you're still hungry. And it really got me more in touch with my hunger and my fullness. And that was, that is one of the biggest keys in mindful eating and improving your overall relationship to food, is really being in touch with that hunger and fullness, understanding that cravings are normal. Treats are always part of life, right? And treats should never be off limits. But if you ever want a shot at creating healthy, balanced living, you have to be that. You really have to identify with that. It's not just something that you do for a short period of time. It's something you are. So I encourage you to say, I am a healthy, fit individual. I am that. And in order to be that, you have to do the daily action. Okay? So when you start to lead with that and become that, you will do the daily action and start to build those habits automatic with very little decision making behind it. Okay? So if you are not that, I want you to start being that healthy, fit individual. Okay? That leader, that role model, that person that you want to be for your child. You want to be that type of parent. So be that. And don't make any excuses about it. Don't make the excuse that you grew up in a difficult environment to food. I did too. That doesn't mean I can't break the cycle. Okay? So be that change that you're looking for. I hope this helped. I hope that you jotted down notes. I want you to start to implement today and then follow up with me once you start to see that progress happening at dinner time. I hope this helped, and I'll see you next time.